Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to episode 11 of Talking Times. Don't forget, we'll be posting these episodes weekly. I am Maick Ofel, your host, and today we have a very special guest. Have you ever thought, what's the impression an American has when visiting Brazil? So, we're gonna chat right after our podcast intro. Hello, John.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here, man.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
Before we start talking about everything we're going to cover today, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes, my name is John Cline, and I live 45 minutes north of Orlando, Florida.
Nice. Okay. And what brought you to Brazil, John?
I have some great friends that I come down to see, and we hang out and have a lot of fun.
Ah, nice. You mentioned that you have visited some farms here in Brazil, right?
Yes.
Okay. And tell us a little bit of your background. You were born and grew in a farm too, right?
Yes, I grew up in Ohio, which is what we call our Midwest up there. We're below Lake Erie. Very great agricultural state. Of course, we have a lot of other things going on, but great soil. So I grew up there, and my family had been there before my state was a state, back when the government used to give you property to move into these new territories. So, I've got farming in my blood.
Nice. This is something, guys. We're gonna cover a lot of topics today, but if you have questions to John, leave them in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna read all of them, or at least try. I always try to do it. Okay, so leave them in the chat. Okay, so John, how many generations have your family been there?
Family originally came from Switzerland in around 1740.
1740. Okay, and
before the revolution.
Yeah, that's true. And what were the family traditions that you were passed from one generation to another that you keep up even today?
Well, we live in a different time now.
Yeah, we do.
And when I was growing up, of course, we had family dinners Sunday after church.
Ah, nice.
And it would alternate usually between a big beef roast or chicken or whatever. And
you're gonna go with the food thing, all right?
Yes. Okay. And of course, wonderful desserts and all kinds of country homemade dishes and stuff.
That, as I told you before we started the broadcast, I came from an Italian background, my family. And this was something that was very traditional. Like, you go to the matriarch house, normally would be the grandmother,
Right.
and we would have this big meal together. Like, it was normally pasta, and it was like this. Italian people, they're very noisy, and we would eat together and chat. It is one of the things that is kind of getting lost these days, right?
Yes.
People are more individualistic. No?
Yes. In America, I think it's better here.
Really?
From what I've seen, yes. I think families, as a rule, for what I've seen, are closer. And you have multi-generational families still living together. That's not the norm in America anymore. And it makes me sad, because
me too.
family is so important, and you have to know where you came from. You need to pass down certain customs. You can throw some things out that aren't,
of course,
but there's a lot of good in there that you can bring from generation to generation.
Yeah, that's why I felt very impressed when you said about your family history, and especially about. Can you tell us again, how was the whole process? Like, there was nobody living there in that area, and the government would give you like this area, and you start your own farm, your own property. You basically build a community from scratch there, right?
Yes. When of course America kept expanding from the East Coast to the West Coast, and of course Pennsylvania was one of the original colonies and now states. So Ohio was right next to that. So that was the next area that was open for settlement. So the government would give people 160 acres of land to come in. They would have to clear it. It would basically, I mean, some would probably be in pasture, but a lot of it was in woods, forests. And so you would have to clear it, make your fields, your farms, your barns, build a house, build communities with churches and schools. And my family moved to Ohio Territory around 1780, and Ohio became a state in 1803.
People were good at crafts back then.
Oh, yes.
Because you had to do everything.
Yes.
My father-in-law is like that. You know, the cabin that I mentioned before, he built that with his not bare hands, of course, but with his own hands. You know?
Yes, that's what they did.
I'm kind of picking up some things, learning here. Oh, how do you use this tool? What about this one? I like that. I'm gonna ask you a few hints about that as well. Okay, I need to get by, And when you describe it, when you first arrived in Brazil, what was the first impression you had? Did you feel like completely different from what do you have back home, or you said, oh, they do that as well, oh, this is similar what we have there? How was it?
I guess one of the two biggest things that hit me were the traffic. You have lots of little cars with narrow streets. We have bigger highways, wider highways, bigger vehicles, lots of trucks, pickup trucks and things like that, especially in the South. The South loves their pickup trucks.
Oh yeah, like diesel ones.
And the traffic, which I would never try to drive here. I mean, it's crazy enough in Orlando, but here it's just crazy. The streets, the way they merge and stuff, and you got two lanes turning this way, and you got one going that way, and then you got all the mopeds running in between and dodging in and out. That's not legal in America, it's scary to me.
Okay, it's debatable, but I would often say that Campinas is one of the worst places to drive in Brazil. I don't know in the world because I haven't been that. I haven't been around, but some people say no, in my state is worse. But okay, the drivers here, you suck. I am from Campinas, so I can say you guys suck. It's not like they don't know how to drive. They are impolite sometimes. So please don't drive here. You're gonna have a bad impression. Okay. What about Ohio? Imagine what can a Brazilian expect when visiting there? What will he see? Things to do, places to go.
There's they have four major cities there. You have Cincinnati on the Ohio River, which is in the south.
Oh, I've heard about
corner.
this one.
And it's about 1.5 million people. They have a beautiful aquarium down there. They have a place called Kings Island, which is a big amusement park.
Nice.
Then Dayton, which is where I'm from, Dayton, Ohio. They have a big Air Force museum there that is amazing, big IMAX theater.
This is the one where you have those races. It's not NASCAR car races.
Indianapolis has the races, the 500. Indianapolis 500, which is next door, not that far. Now it's next door to Ohio, and it's only about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from Dayton.
Close.
Yes. Dayton is at the crossroads of I-75, which is the major north-south highway, and Highway 70, which is the major east-west highway.
We were talking about music and High Road A75. I heard about it in a song.
I-75?
Yeah, it's popular.
It goes all the way to Tampa, St. Pete, Florida, all the way up into Michigan.
Oh, interesting. And how is the landscape there? What people will
Ohio?
see? Yeah.
The southern part of the state where I'm from is very hilly, very fertile farm country, lots of rivers and streams.
Nice.
Still a lot of beautiful farms. They raise a lot of corn, soybeans, sorghum, wheat, oats, a lot of different types of hay, alfalfa, timothy, because different animals require different types of hay when the grass isn't available. And they actually ship a lot of hay down to where I used to live in Ocala, Florida. It is a major horse farm area. They claim to be the horse capital of America.
They claim to be, but are they?
It's them in Lexington, Kentucky. It's
Okay.
yeah, they're fighting it out. But many beautiful horse farms there. In Columbus, which is in the center of the state, is our capital of Ohio, and that's where the Ohio State University is. But it's a beautiful city. They have managed to keep a lot of their old buildings and stuff there, churches, and they have a fire department there from back in the 1800s.
Damn.
It almost looks like a Japanese pagoda. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Nice.
But I love just driving through there. And they have an old German section of the city. It's a very cool. They have a big museum there and a hands-on thing for the kids to do science stuff.
So it would be kind of a family-friendly trip in a way. Like you
would.
have landscapes, farms. If the person is a diehard for history, it would be a nice place to go there.
Yeah, it's very cool. And of course, Cleveland, Ohio has a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm a music guy, and it's amazing.
Cleveland is a place I would definitely visit if I could. How are the people there? Are they friendly, welcoming?
Since Ohio and most of the Midwest was basically agricultural until after World War II, the people tend to be very friendly there. You know, not everybody, and
Of
that's
course,
everywhere.
that's normal.
But yeah, it's a nice place. It's very nice, and it'd be a fun place to visit. And of course, there's places up Toledo, which is up on the lake. They have amusement parks up there too, and it's a cool state.
You convinced me, but no. What about the impression you got from Brazilians here? Okay, are we treating you well, John?
I can say that I think enjoyed everybody I've met here so far.
Nice, good to know. Okay, and I asked you before, is there anything that we do here in Brazil that made you feel like back home, or like, oh, that's nice, like a little piece of home here? I know that coffee isn't one of those. It's very different. Yeah.
Yes, I'm into my gourmet coffees. I'm very spoiled, but I enjoy my coffees here too. You know, it's just a different experience. My friends, they call every time I do something different that's Brazilian, we call it part of my Brazilian experience, and I've been enjoying it.
I'm gonna teach you a Brazilian word right now.
Okay.
This that you were saying like a joke, you can use the word migué. Okay. Migué, exactly.
Migué.
Remember Miguel? Well, what is a Migué? Oh, that goes the teacher's challenge. Is exactly what you do that, you know, you want something, you know, but you don't want to go direct about it. So you kind of slide yourself in, for example. Let's suppose you are eating a cake and it's a beautiful big cake. And then I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. Like, oh, can I have a bite? And then what's the Miguel behavior? Well, that looks beautiful and smells good too. And like I keep talking about the thing. Okay, man, you wanna have a bite? Oh, really? You know.
So it's Miguel.
It's Miguel, okay?
Okay.
Now you got a Brazilian expression. Can you? How is the coffee you normally have back home? Can you tell to our listeners? Because it's very different from what we have here.
Yes, our supermarkets, as you call them, our grocery stores there are very big, and you have a lot of choices in a lot of different areas. But the coffee section, I go to Publix, which is the best store.
Okay.
You know.
What's the name again?
Publix, Public Supermarkets.
Ah, okay.
And they're all over. They started in Jacksonville. They're all over Florida. Now they're going up into some of the other states too. But they are amazingly clean and selection. Beautiful bakery, beautiful delicatessen, sushi, everything. But their coffee section is amazing. It's probably 12 or 15 different coffee companies represented there with a lot of different types of coffee, flavored coffees, which is what I'm really into. And then, of course, I'm spoiled with, there we have a lot of, over in the milk section, we have real cow's milk, large sections of that, which I don't find here.
Okay.
that milk in the carton that they sell here. I call that cat's milk. I'm not sure what that is, but it doesn't taste like cow's milk. But that's one experience I could do without. But anyway, so in the they have creamers, different color or coffee creamers. You have hazelnut, you have caramel, you have Italian cream, you have almond joy, which is the candy bar. They have a Heath bar flavor, and I mean it's like dessert in a cup, and that's what spoils me.
That's a good definition, dessert in a cup. Because some Brazilian people, they are very picky with their coffee. They want it like the bitterness. I think they just drink to wake up in the morning, So it's basically that.
Yes.
What about Brazilian foods comparing to what you normally have there?
Oh, it's pretty much completely different here, but I love it. I've been trying all different kinds of food, and there's not much of it that I don't really like. Yeah.
What have been the biggest surprise you had? Because the way we prepare barbecue, for example, I remember the barbecue question. See, the way we prepare barbecue here is different from what you do there, right?
Yes. Most barbecue in America is done with different types of sauces or a dry rub of spices.
Okay.
What my experience here that I've eaten is a special blend of salts and pepper and stuff, and that's all that's on it, and it is absolutely wonderful. So it's a refreshing change. But you have a lot of barbecue places, and it's different depending on which part of America that you live in. Florida has a type of barbecue, South Carolina, North Carolina,
Oh, it's
Texas,
a cultural thing too.
Yes, Georgia. Everybody has their own. Texas is price that they have the best, of course.
Is there a competition about that? We got the best barbecue.
Oh yeah. I mean, just chit chat back and forth. Yeah, but it's a friendly challenge. But it's just different. I love barbecue, and I have one of my sons has a commercial smoker that he controls with his iPhone, and so he makes all this wonderful stuff because he can turn it on and off and let it rest. And I went from work, and so he gets home, it's all ready.
Do you use this high-tech stuff while cooking?
Yes.
You mentioned Alexa, right?
Well, no, this is my son that does all of that.
Okay,
no,
not you.
I do. No, I don't cook like that. I just have a propane gas grill that I use at my place. But he makes smoked ribs and brisket, and it is the best.
The ribs, it's my favorite cut ever. Right? Okay. Take notes, guys. Okay, John, how would you prepare the perfect American barbecue? Your recipe, your take on it.
Okay. Well, I would use a sauce, and I start with ketchup, brown sugar, A1 sauce, a little mustard, a little ground garlic, and cook it. You mix it with the dark brown sugar.
All right.
And so it's blended very nicely, and then I put it on the steak. Well, not on steak, but on ribs, anything like that, pork, loins or whatever, and you turn your heat down low so it does, because now it's got the sugar on there, and you basically cook it till it's done, depending whether it's beef or pork, and then I would make a homemade potato salad, which is amazing. It's a southern style potato salad, and corn on the cob, and I make baked beans. Baked beans. They are, you buy them in a can to start with. You can make from scratch if you want to, but I buy them in a can, and they're in a tomato sauce. They're a very small bean, kind of like a northern bean, if you know what that is. But basically you put that in there. Again, you use brown sugar, a little bit of mustard, and onion. Chop up some onion and cook it in there, and then
as you are describing, in my head, remember the macro thing that I do. Okay, you got your proteins, you got your fats, you got your carbs. Okay, nice. And so it's a slow cooking method in this case. You have low fire, low heat, then
on the meat, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
you have to chill, because some people they want to prepare some foods and they want 20 minutes. It's not like that.
Yeah, and I'm not done yet. I'm an organic gardener.
Okay.
And so I have green beans and squash. and I take those and I usually mix them together with some portobello mushrooms. I saute them in olive oil and some different spices, and then I have a special pan so that they don't fall through the grill, and I grill them on the slow heat out there.
Did you come up with this method? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you mentioned that you used to cook a lot for your kids, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they are spoiled too in a way. They got nice meals.
And they're pretty good cooks too. Yeah.
Nice, man. Okay. I will not forget. I'm gonna check the chat here. One moment. Okay. Hello, Jackson. Hello, Vivi. Laís, Henrique, Diego, Marcel, Ney. Okay. Well.
Wow.
Jackson is asking you, John, what did you think of Brazil before knowing it? Ah, okay, yeah. Because people have different views. Thanks to The Simpsons. Which of the things have changed now that you are here, from the impression you had before?
I guess I hadn't really thought about... like I went to Sao Paulo, and I didn't realize you had such a large city here.
They normally don't show riding moves. It's normally Rio or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, you see Rio, you hear about Rio.
Yeah.
But I've always known it was a very agricultural country, and which the United States is too. Yeah, I think that's... Do you ask me, what's the question again?
It's like the impression you had before Brazil, and if anything has changed now that you are here, maybe.
Well, I really had no idea of your actual culture here. Now I have a glimpse of it. And I think it is a good country. I think... I thought it mostly is agricultural and your party down at Rio once a year, whatever it is. But I think the people are, a little more, genuine maybe here somewhat. They're more family-oriented than back where I live now. The United States used to be like that. It's getting too...
people are getting more individualistic nowadays in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And families aren't as close as they used to be or should be. Yes.
Yeah, well, maybe.
So I envy that here. Yes.
It's just the place you visit, and since you are amongst friends, that's nice that you got that impression here. Well, you liked the food as well.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's
2 thumbs up.
Yeah. Do you listen to Brazilian music here?
I have listened to some of it. My friends like some of the Brazilian country, Brazilian country music, and some of them like the pop too. We're around music a lot when I'm at their house, and it's. I don't listen to it though. In America, I never listen to Brazilian music. Of course, I'm an old rock and roller, and I like 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s songs mostly. But I do like newer stuff too. Some of it, I like Michael Bublé and. There's some I like.
What's the name of that guy?
Charlie Puth.
Keith.
Keith Urban.
Yeah, Keith Urban. I'm gonna listen to that guy later.
Yeah, he's a cross between. Well, he comes out. He's supposed to be country, but he's a rock and roller too. He's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good recommendation, man. Yeah, and you can listen to Jake Everett, I wouldn't do bad things with you. He sings too. We are not gonna do that today, but maybe, who knows? We could do like an Elvis song.
Yes, we could do an Elvis song.
I need to get the hang of the lyrics though. I don't remember everything.
That's what karaoke's for.
I know. Yeah, good idea, man. That would be actually a nice idea. Yeah. Okay. Laís is asking you if you are a football or a soccer guy.
America is culturally a football country. It's number 1. Basketball is probably number 2. Baseball is number 3. Soccer is coming up. When I was growing up, there was no soccer, and they didn't have soccer in school. Now most high schools have soccer teams, and some junior highs, and colleges all have competitive soccer teams. And Orlando has 2 soccer teams now with their own stadium. It's a ladies team and a guys team, and they're Orlando Pride and the Orlando Lions. They're not real great yet, but they've only been together about 5
Well,
years.
I hope we don't have any supporters there here. Like, what are you talking about? They are the best.
But I don't really know much about soccer. I've seen it in bits and pieces, but I don't understand the rules.
Oh no, I will take you through it. Don't worry. But something that a lot of people don't get, like I asked you about baseball, and for example, imagine it's the first time I'm watching a football game, okay, American football game.
Mm-hmm.
What are the rules? Because correct me if I'm wrong. The impression I have, okay, you have these two teams of buffed guys, and then you have like, I am describing as I see, don't judge me guys. You have the quarterback, that is like the number 10 we have here, the captain of the team, the one that normally he does the long throws. You have a smaller guy that is twice my size, that is the runner,
Right.
The smaller comparing to the team,
Right.
And what you have to do is you get the football, not the egg. Thank you. I don't remember who told me to call the thing egg. But you get the guy with the football, he receives it, and he has to cross the opponent's field, and that's a touchdown when he goes to the back of it, the last yard.
Yes.
Is that it?
In a very short synopsis, yes. There are a lot of rules that it takes a while to learn it. Yeah, I don't think we have enough time for me to explain
Really?
the whole game to you here. But yeah, basically, you get 6 points if you can get the ball down to the other person's goal line.
Okay.
And then you have an opportunity at that point you can either run the ball into the end zone,
Mm-hmm.
which will give you 2 points, or you can have a guy kick the ball through the goal post on the other end,
okay.
and you get 1 point for that.
Mm.
Okay, so each team you have, basically the game is 60 minutes long.
Mhm.
It's divided into quarters. Every 15 minutes, they change position of the field.
Mhm.
You face this way and then you face that way. They have a halftime that lasts about a half hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
Where the players get a break, and you usually have the cheerleaders. Very nice looking
yeah, that's
cheerleaders come
nice.
out, and the bands come out, and they play at halftime.
Yeah.
Both bands from both schools.
How long is the break?
I guess it's about an hour long. Not during college balls, but during professional games, yes.
Yeah, I think the Super Bowl is kind of a huge thing there.
Oh,
You
yeah,
have
it's a major thing.
It's a big
Yeah.
production.
Yeah, it is. It's usually not very family friendly, the halftime show.
Depending on the
You
artist.
send the kids to bed earlier.
Yeah. Father, what is okay? Don't look at me. Okay. You go get a hot dog.
Yeah.
It's something that I didn't understand the first time I watched it. How does how can I ask that? The plays happen, because you see the guys like 45, blah 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 blah, and they do something, throw the ball. So that's kind of an attack attempt, something like this.
That's the quarterback calling off. They have different signals and stuff. And if you've noticed, they have these special wrist deals on, and the coach, and because you have an offensive coach, you have a defensive coach, quarterback coach, all that stuff, and they're on the sidelines, and then you have guys up in a big box watching the game, and they can call plays because they can see how the other team is lined up and stuff. It's very complicated.
No, yes.
And so they send a signal, that gives them a code. Okay, this is the play we're going to run this time.
Okay, so the guy, like the watcher guy, is like finding the weak spots on the other team. So okay, the runner should go this way. Oh, that's very interesting.
Have many plays, trick plays.
Yeah, it's like
you think they're doing one thing,
chess
and
strategy
then they do something
in one way.
else. Yes.
And this is amazing, John, because people had such a wrong impression about sports and a lot of stuff, because it's, like I said, just the tip of the iceberg, but that's a lot to it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, football's very fun.
No, the impression I have, I got from movies, and so it's always romanticized and stuff, yeah. But it's not for a newbie. It's always like, if you watch, you know what's happening there.
Yeah.
But as a newbie, I was like, what the hell are these guys doing,
Yes.
Would you recommend a movie about football that would be a good take to start?
Oh, gosh.
Do you guys know any?
Again, there's the one with Sandra Bullock in it where they adopt a little black child, and he turns into a great football player.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very good show.
Okay, somebody write the name of this movie in the chat. Okay, there is another question from Marcel here. How would you sum up Brazil to your American friends? That's a good one. Thanks, Marcel.
I think I was here once before, and I told them about it, and they say I'm very spoiled here, and I think they are quite envious. Now,
Really?
I enjoy it here. Yes.
Nice. Nate is asking here. Good evening. How much money someone need to stay in US for 1 month? About thinking like the food, traffic values. You think it's cheaper than here? Okay. I'll shut up. You can answer that. For 1 month, right? Yeah, for if somebody's visiting US for a month, how much would you recommend?
It would depend on where you go. If you went to New York City, you better bring your big checkbook, or LA.
An arm and a leg.
And you don't want to go there anyway. There's a lot better places to go. It really depends on where you go and what kind of accommodations you are accustomed to. Whether you there's a lot of B&Bs you can rent outside of cities. You're better off, I think, to go outside of the big cities, because I'm around Orlando, and so there's just thousands and thousands of people there all the time, right? Renting all these places, so the rent stays up pretty high. You're better off to get out a little bit and drive in.
Okay.
But you do have toll roads in some. Orlando has quite a few of them, but that's how they keep their highway system really great. And it depends on what you want to do for entertainment. We've got Disney, we've got Universal Studios, we've got Busch Gardens down in Tampa. It is, Legoland, and Disney's getting very expensive.
Oh, yeah. Offer and demand, right?
Yeah.
Every year people are visiting more and more.
I would, depending on where you go, if you're going to Disney for the day and you're staying in a hotel just for one night, you're probably going to need, I don't know how big your family is either, but if you have 2 children and your husband and you, or your wife and you, or whatever, you'd probably be looking at $1,000 a day.
Okay, so $1,000. Okay, so around 5,000 reais a day. Okay, all right. Eduardo has another question here. People are very curious. That's nice. I would like to know why smoke comes out of sewers in cities. Oh, that's okay. You see the Brazilian perspective when watching a movie.
Okay.
I would like to know why smoke comes out of sewers in cities like New York, for example. What's Master Splinter smoking?
No, it's generally not smoke. It's usually steam.
Okay. Is the temperature differences?
Yes.
There? Okay. So it's the same thing that happens here when it's very cold and you do the thing.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Cadu is asking, is there any word or expression in Portuguese language that you have heard or learned? Yes, Miguel. I'm joking. What do you find interesting about Brazilian language, Joe? Have you had any problem, communicating in Portuguese?
Fortunately, I have the translation app on my phone, which makes it pretty darn easy. But I only know a tiny bit of Portuguese.
Okay.
And I've been watching a couple movies now, and I'm watching it in English, but the subtitles are in Portuguese, and I compare. So I'm learning as I
that's a good strategy.
watch movies. Yes.
That's a good strategy. Okay, we need to tell them that story you told me, because I was asking about Florida, right? And I don't know if it was real or not, but somebody told me, if you go to Florida and you see like a pond, river, or anything like that, extreme, that's how I would probably die before getting this advice, because I'll say, wow, nice place, let's go for a swim, and it's man, there are alligators, like pretty much everywhere.
Yes.
And I asked you about it, and you told me something very interesting. How is it like? Is that true? Like if you like the way we see capybaras here in some parks or places like that, you could see a gator there.
Any body of water in Florida is probably going to have at least one alligator in it.
Damn, that's so cool.
And on the golf course around me, I don't live at the golf course, but they have a 16-foot gator that lives there.
That lives there, like they name it then already. That's two.
Yeah, because they have large ponds in different parts of the golf course, and there are alligators in all of them. And I live on a canal that goes into a string of lakes. It's very beautiful there, but there are quite a few gators. I was having dinner a couple weeks ago in my living room, and I was looking out through my sliding glass doors. The canal is in my backyard, and there was an 8-foot alligator coming through my garden area, which was the first time I ever saw that, but I've only lived there for a year. And I looked out, and there's another 8-foot gator out there looking at the other gator, trying to get him. I don't know if it was mating season or what, but...
they were trying to have a good time. Mating season is when the animals have sex to procreate. And the gators look at this guy and they say, "Oh, creepy, stop staring."
But I went out into the backyard and I shouted very loudly and clapped my hands real loud, hollered at them, and they both took off down the canal. I haven't seen them since. I told them don't come
You
back.
You clapped your hands
and hollered at them. Yes.
That was badass.
And boy, they took off. It was crazy.
That was really badass, man. Like, a little more. I wrestle with the smaller one and say, okay.
But most of the alligators stay on the shorelines. So if I'm on large lakes, and so if you're out in the middle of the lake, you're not going to see alligators out there. They hang out for birds and turtles and whatever they can catch along the shorelines.
Yeah, but that's very interesting. Have you seen them again?
No, they have not been back. They've listened to me. Don't come back.
Okay. Oh, wait, there's more questions here. Keep sending them, guys. Okay. Have you ever heard about Brazilian music such as samba or bossa nova? What are your thoughts on these musical styles? You have listened to sertanejo
I've
here,
heard
but
that. Yeah, I love all music, but not rap. But I like almost anything else. Yeah, I think the music's very cool. It makes you want to move.
Yeah, you are a dancer too, right?
Yes, I love to dance.
Okay, well, what can you dance, John?
I'm just an old rock and roll. I can do a little bit of two-step, and that I don't know. I do a little cha-cha, but I don't know a lot a lot of the Latin dances, but they're very fun to watch, though. Oh my gosh!
You need to teach me some moves, man. I told you, I had when I was at the university, I had this amazing teacher, and I graduated in propaganda, so it's a mixed course, but basically we teach how to present a product to a client, how to find the correct thing and send to the correct target audience. But one of the semesters we have these theater classes, and I told him, "Oh, come on, teacher, I can dance," Said, "Oh, Mike, I'm gonna teach you a technique that I call here big tie, that in Portuguese we say gravatão." I said, "Why gravatão?" So it's very easy. You get the 1 and 2 thing, and the girl is gonna cross her arms around your neck.
Sounds good so far.
And she's gonna be like a big tie there, just
big tie.
Yeah, and you hug her like here, and you do like this, and then
I'm liking
that
this.
could go nice with the na 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 na,
Yeah.
But only that or electronic music, as I told you, you just pretend that you are on fire. You just have to move.
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. I like Latin music and I like Latin dances. They're very sexy and very cool.
It's very sexy, but it looks difficult because you have too many steps and twists and
I didn't say I did it. I just enjoy it.
No, I will recommend you one that you're probably gonna enjoy. There is this genre here that is called forró. I don't know if you have heard of it, but is like the perfect type of dance to have a partner. It's kind of this Latin twist and movement they do, but it's very beautiful to watch. And I've never done it, but it seems to be very fun to do. So you have your partner, and the song is kind of this chill song, like ding 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 na 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 na. So it's something like that. You might enjoy it.
Yeah, you'll have to send me a link to it or something. Maybe I'll have to learn it. I'll have to learn it. I'll be the first one in America to do it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Besides that expression, would be another interesting thing to do. Okay. What Lais is asking if there is anything he thinks is interesting about our culture in general. So we mentioned about the food, but is there anything that
the family?
The
family ties. Yes, the closeness of the family, which I find very cool, very heartwarming.
Yeah. How was it when you were a kid there in the farm? Because you mentioned family. The impression that I have is that, ironically enough, social media in a way makes a person here can have access to anywhere in the world, so you can follow your favorite artist, and get kind of access to this lifestyle. And people have been preaching a lot online, like this individual thing, like individualism actually. So when I was a kid, I was born in '85, so we still have a few family traditions like that, like the Sunday lunch, or like eat together, like have dinner together, and
get together for big family events, birthdays and stuff like that. And we still do that. My family, my children, and my grandchildren and stuff. But it's like once a month kind of thing. It's not like you see each other constantly, which is what I see a lot here, and I like. And you rarely have people living multi-generationally together, with the children or the grandchildren, grandparents, and maybe 3 or 4 generations all in one home, all working together to raise the kids and to cook and clean and whatever needs to be done. Yes, it's very cool, and we have lost that for the most part. I'm sure the people still being on farms, which I do not, are still pretty much like that, but people in the city are not, for the most part.
Definitely.
I'm sure there's exceptions. But I don't see it much.
Do you teach this to your grandchildren? Like, okay, you're gonna learn how to do this or to do that?
No, because my kids aren't really into that at this point.
It's that technology stuff.
It's the kids are sitting there with their iPhones and watching videos, and even at the table you go out to a restaurant, and it's not like you're carrying on conversations. It's really sad.
Yeah, and
it's really sad.
You are very good in telling stories. I could get that, and it's something that is nice when you. Like, people used to do that a lot sometimes, even when they had like a piece of technology. Like my grandmother used to tell me, when we had our first television, people will sit together and watch the shows together, and this is something that was common in the 80s in Brazil and part of the 90s. And some people, they would go to their neighbor's house, it was like an event. Oh, let's watch our favorite show together,
Yes. Or
just sit and talk about stuff, and like you said, tell stories. We had a lot of that. It's sad that it's being lost, but as I told you before, I'm gonna share a secret now. I have John here as our guest because I am currently preparing for zombie apocalypse, and John has been teaching me some tricks on how to survive. One of the things that is gonna happen, guys, is natural selection. It's not me, fight with Darwin. Is that kids are so high tech nowadays, and these kind of traditions have been lost, So, as a kid, what were your favorite things to do, John? The things you used to do that it's kind of getting lost, like you mentioned climbing trees and running around the farm and stuff like that.
Yes. Of course, by the time you're 10 or 11 years old, you're pretty much up your eyebrows in chores. But before that, you still have some chores to do, but you have a lot of free time. So, yes, we always lived in the country. We always had streams and rivers and stuff to play in, skipping stones and catching a minnow minnows or small fish and frogs. Of course, we had farm animals, so feeding a baby calf or a lamb.
That's very nice.
It was idyllic.
Do you know how to fish, hunt, this kind of stuff?
Yes.
Is it difficult to learn? I mean, not to fish, but to hunt, for example. Is it hard to?
No, of course, different. Depending on what you're hunting is.
For example, I don't know, big deer is considered big game.
Yeah, they're big. The deer are small in Florida. They only get up to about 100, 125 pounds.
Damn.
But in Ohio, where you have lots of grain fields and stuff, they get up to about 300 pounds.
That's some people don't get it because I'm kind of against hunting when it's just for the decoration. You go to a safari, kill this beautiful lion just to have a trophy. But something that people don't get is completely different when you're talking about somebody who lives off the land and cooks their own food and they hunt their own game, but it's like it's gonna last for weeks or I don't know, months. It depends on the size of the game, right?
Right.
So this is something that I would like to learn, especially to avoid these low quality foods that we eat today,
Right.
Yeah. What are the things you grow in your farm? You mentioned a lot of things there.
Well, I had a small farm up in Ocala, which is about about an hour north of Orlando, and I had beef cattle and chickens and stuff like that. But it was just a fun farm.
Okay.
I had my own business, so that was my getaway place. I had a big fishing pond in the backyard with a waterfall, and I had a huge pool area, 2,000 square feet, all screened in with a jacuzzi and all that fun stuff.
No gators there?
No gators, no. I used to kill occasional snakes, but no gators.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it was a beautiful, beautiful little farm surrounded by other farms.
Okay. So if somebody wants to start doing that, I want to start growing my own garden, and I want to eat healthy. Okay, what would you recommend to people to start the first steps? What would it be?
Well, you have to have your soil tested to see what nutrients it may need, because it may have too much of something and not enough of something else.
The chemical properties there.
Yes, in the soil. But I think you have pretty good soil here from the farms and stuff I've seen, but I know most people use fertilizers, and I use some fertilizer, but I don't use any sprays or anything like that. Everything is organic at my place. I have thornless blackberries, I have blueberries, I have green beans, I have summer squash, which is the yellow. I know you call it something else here. I have zucchini.
Is the round one or the long one?
No, it's the one that's it has a neck on it.
Okay.
It's yellow.
Yeah, I think we call everything pumpkin here or little pumpkin. It's we are very creative with our vocab.
But zucchini, and I have banana trees. I have a couple of orange trees and a Myers lemon tree, but they're all still small because I just moved here about a year ago to this place. But I've put in about 25 organic yards of organic topsoil back there because my area is on it was kind of swampy back there by my canal, so now it's all gardens and it's
that's
very cool,
very beautiful because it's a complete different experience when I see this. My girlfriend, she likes to watch those videos on YouTube. Like, it's normally a Japanese girl who lives in a farm, and she goes in the morning, grabs all the vegetables and the legumes and everything, and then the whole video is about the cooking thing. It's very relaxing to watch and to do.
Yes.
And to eat.
And to eat, yes.
That's the best part. Okay, more questions here in the chat. Oh yeah. If you have pets there, we're commenting on the gator thing. Like, keep your pets away from those type of places, right?
My dog does not go to the backyard.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, the gators are sneaky and tricky.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. John is a great person. Am I saying? Roberto said hi. Okay. Kadu is asking, John, what do you think about the tropical weather here?
Your weather is, from what I've seen, I was here in February and now I'm here, and your weather is milder. even where I live in Orlando, we've had last winter and the winter before, we had like 3 nights where we had those Canadian fronts coming down all the way through the United States, and it got down below freezing 3 nights in a row. So I had to cover some of my plants to keep them from freezing off.
Yeah, you're lucky. You're visiting in summer, so basically it's hot and humid.
Yes,
you know.
yes. This is like our spring here.
Ah, okay, got it.
Yeah, we're up to. It was the lady that's dog sitting for me said it was 103 degrees with the humidity today where I live.
Damn.
So yes, we have hot weather beginning in May all the way through September, and it's very hot and muggy, but it's beautiful. It's very.
No, you got me when you were describing Ohio. It's a place. I told you I was very curious about Wyoming, but you say I will freeze my ass off there.
You don't want summertime only, July and August. That's
okay,
it.
so it would be a nice thing to visit, but maybe to live would be too harsh.
Oh, it would be very terrible.
Okay. All right, so I will.
It's
I will
like
change
Canada.
my plans.
It's just south of Canada. Remember.
Ah, yeah, it's true. It's true. It's up there.
It's
okay.
right up against Canada.
Something I can't forget asking you. What about the difference here? Because it's probably one of the cultural shocks. The American laws comparing to the laws we have here, because it's very different there. Each state has its own laws, right?
Each state has its laws, but it is. You have to abide by the federal laws as well.
Okay.
So I live in a very conservative state now. We have a very conservative governor, which I am myself, conservative, and he's passed some laws that I think make Florida a much better place. It makes it a lot more difficult to get abortions, for one thing, which I'm very much against. And there are so many abortions in America, but a lot of the southern states especially are changing the laws, so it's not so easy. It's not a form of birth control now. You know, if you don't want children, take precautions
do something else.
To stop,
okay,
to stop it from happening.
This is something that is very polarizing there. I see this sometimes. Eventually, somebody brings up on podcasts and stuff like that. I told John that I'm a bow guy. Like, I don't have a gun, okay, because we can't. But I like to practice archery. That's another thing there. Depending on the, it was one of the reasons I wanted to move to a small ranch. You know, I don't even know. Now I'm curious. If it's a small property, you know, that you don't farm animals there, but you grow things, like, can I call it a ranch or something else? Or just say, it's small property?
How big?
Oh, it's not very.
So we go by acres there.
Yeah,
you
1 acre is 25 square kilometers here, I guess.
Yeah, it depends. You know, up there you have people with 10-acre, they call mini farms. 10-acre mini farms, but most of those people have horses and that kind of thing. It's very popular there. Yeah, I would. Otherwise, it's just kind of a backyard hobby. You know, if you're growing vegetables and stuff, you're just gardening.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna call it small property now. It's better. Then people's like, yo, I want to go to your ranch, and they're like, what is that? You know?
Yeah, ranches in America are large.
Okay. Okay, tropical weather. Okay, guys, if you have, oh my God, we are running out of time already. I told you, John, it would be fast. Mauricio is here. Mike, 5 minutes to wrap this up. Okay, John, you mentioned an interesting show that is the Yellowstone, right?
Yellowstone.
Okay, and you recommend me a nice artist. So I want you to give you some space. What would you recommend to Brazilians? You know, to have a different vision or different perspective of United States, or to learn something. I asked you about the football movie, but what are the things you like to watch there you think would be a nice recommendation? First of all, let's start with music. Okay. Yeah, you're a music guy. You have a lot to recommend there.
Yeah, well, I like, the Eagles. I like a lot of the 60s, 70s, 80s music, but I like some from pretty much all, decades. I just don't find a lot of good music now that I really enjoy all that much. But of course, America is, I mean, it's a music mecca. You know, there's all kinds of music. You can find anything you want there. But and I think part of it comes from the freedom that we feel in America. You can kind of do what you want to do to a point, you know, as long as you're not infringing on someone else's life or rights. But yeah, I enjoy the freedom there in America. And, you know, it doesn't matter. We have so many different types of food, you know, restaurants. You know, it's a cultural mecca, too. So you have every type of food from all over the world, you know, from Russian to Chinese to, you know, Korean and Mexican food's very big there. I went to a Japanese barbecue place for my birthday not very long ago, which was very cool. You cooked your food in a grill in the middle of the table.
Oh, I saw those only in like those Japanese cartoons, animes, you know. I saw they doing that, so it's different from what we have here.
And I'd never even heard of Japanese barbecue.
Yeah, me neither. It was like that.
Cool. But it didn't have sauce on it. It was more Brazilian.
Oh, really? It was like just salt?
Yeah, they gave us like 5 different kinds of steak. We had shrimp, we had pork belly, and you would just cook it. It was sliced thin, so it cooked fairly quickly, and you had a little deal to turn it over, and just ate it directly, and you had vegetables and all kinds of stuff to grill.
You were describing something that I saw in one anime called Naruto. You know, it was exactly like that. So, that's different. Nice.
Yeah,
and
cool.
There we go again. I'm hungry again. Thank you, John. I'm very, I don't know what I'm gonna have now, but I'm gonna eat after we finish here. Joe, thank you so much, man. It was a nice talk.
Thank you.
You should definitely come back here whenever you are visiting Brazil.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the invite.
And guys, thank you for sending a lot of questions to us, you know, the recommendations too. Don't forget, every week we are broadcasting this show, okay? It's brought to you by Times Idiomas. I am Maick Ofel and hope to see you on our next episode of Talking Times. Bye bye, guys.